the Gazette discussion for 30th July 2021. My name is Harsh, and in this discussion we will cover many interesting articles. Our discussion is divided in two segments. The two videos will contain the whole of discussion. The first video is on the featured news. The featured news for today is on big technology companies and geopolitics. This is where we will understand what are the big technology companies. So, example is GAFA, Google, Amazon, Facebook, and Apple, right? What is the influence of these kind of organizations? Why do they have such a humongous influence on polity, economy, society today? Then we will understand what impacts does it have on our whole ecosystem around the world and specific impacts on India, and after that the way forward in this particular situation. So this is the first video, or a holistic article covering big technology and geopolitics around it. The second video will contain rest of the articles, which have firstly Bismarck, right? A brief history on Bismarck in this day in history. And then we have two update articles, two updated news specific to UPSC exam. First one is on power purchase agreements, a brief background about it and how Punjab is in news here. The second one is a beautiful initiative by Coal India Limited in production of sand. We will see how it happens. Image of the day is on star sapphire cluster. We will also understand what is the meaning of asterism here. Terms and concept. The first term and concept is from Odisha, specifically Puri Sujal, drinking from tap water mission. Kanjivaram silk sari is again in news, right? Also GI tagged. The third term and concept in news is secured logistics, document exchange, and greenhouse gas calculator. So we will understand what is the concept behind this. And the fourth is the hottest chili in news. This is called as Bhuj Jalakia, or also Raja Mirchi, right from northeast, specifically Nagaland. Editorials of the day. Today we have two editorials. The first one is on central bank digital currency, also competing with the currency of the day, cryptocurrency. So we will understand in this article what is the comparison, why are the governments trying to enforce a CBDC, what is the impact on it. And the second one is on Pegasus and cyber weapon. Case study of the day is on a special lady who won a medal in the Olympics for our country, Mirabai Chanu. Let us start the discussion. We begin the Gazette discussion today with the case study of the day. Today's case study is very special and close to my heart because it was one of the most inspiring stories that I came across lately. Also, you will be able to relate with it very much. Any guesses? This is the story of Mirabai Chanu. She lately won the silver medal at the Olympic Games in Tokyo in 49 kg weightlifting category, right? Now we see her Mirabai eating at her humble home in Manipur with her near and dear ones. Now, what is the struggle behind this beautiful aspiration that she achieved? So quickly, her background. She comes from a very humble background, her father being a construction worker and mother a small tea stall owner, right? So economic hardships she faced all throughout, yet she did not give up. Second, childhood inspiration. Now, during childhood, she used to carry firewood for kitchen works, for burning kitchen fuel, right? Now, this is where she understood that she could actually carry a lot of firewood, even sometimes more than her brother could carry. So this inspired her to become a weightlifter. Now, we all have these kind of inspirations. At our childhood, we have seen police officers. We have wanted to become Air Force pilots, right? So these are the kind of inspirations that do also work. Same with you. But this is not the end of her struggles. This is where the struggles begin. This is where the family support starts. So she struggled for a lot of time. She became a fighter. However, her mother also had given her gold earrings. You see the gold earring that she is wearing of the shape of Olympic logo. She got it from her mother, and her mother sacrificed her own gold to be able to afford this for her daughter. So this is the kind of struggle we all go through. Our parents also take a lot of pain, right? Economic hardships, social hardships, and they afford a lot of things that are inspiring to us, right? But what was the result? You can see the result in 2016, not 2021. 2016, she could not even qualify for a legitimate round of picking up the weight. She could not even qualify for that, right? So this is the time when she struggled hard, very hard. She did not even come back to her home for 2 years. Can you relate? We have also done that previously, right? And you are doing that at this time. And she struggled through this phase, and she declared before the games itself that this time she will come back with a medal, either gold or silver or bronze, and that's what she did. This is where the power of declaration, the power of determination also plays a huge role, right? There was a survey conducted around the world. In fact, these kind of surveys keep on happening on what contributes to success. What is the chief thing? What is the most important thing which contributes to one's success? Is it knowledge? Is it determination? What is it? This is the answer. This is the result of all the surveys that point to having grit. So grit is the essential thing that carries us. Do look up this word on dictionary. And if you have grit, if you work with grit, you will actually achieve your aim just like she did. So a quick background to the weightlifting in India, right? So the year 2000, I was very small. This is the time when I heard Karnam Maleshwari from Kerala, she won the bronze medal in weightlifting, and this was the first time an Indian lady had won a medal for India. First time for an Indian lady, right? And later, now this is all started, right? So a huge determination is what leads to success. Success despite failures, despite economic hardships, despite all the failures in the past times. So you can remember the times you have failed, but you want to carry on and declare and have grit to be able to succeed. We have dedicated this day in history to Bismarck. Now, he was the man who actually caused the whole Germany to unify. Earlier, there were small territories. One important territory was Prussia, and he was the prime minister of that territory. And there were overlying territories also with France, Austria, and nearby countries, right? So he fought wars with some of the countries, unified the whole land. Also, he ensured a progressive form of governance in this territory. Why? Because this is the way he could unify, nationalize the people, right? One important way he fought all this was through real politics. Now, this is the technique in which a person utilizes the opportunity present to them to go ahead, right? Now, there are people with ideologies. Now, even during times of adversities or positivities, they stick to their ideologies. But he was pragmatic in that terms, right? He used to change, mold himself, and go forward with all the opportunities present to him. And that is why he became a successful leader in the 19th century. So he ruled from 1871 to 1890, and he was one of the important persons for unification of Germany, right? Similarly, for Italy, we had Mazzini. New snapshot. The first snapshot is on power purchase agreement. Before we come into the details of this update, a quick understanding of the whole power supply chain. Now, first of all, we have power generators. For example, NTPC generates power. Then we have power transmitters. We see these overhead cables, no? The very huge cables and these pillars supporting it, very high towers supporting it, countryside area, in village areas, right? So these are the power transmitting companies. And then we have distribution companies. These are private companies or government also, right? Government companies doing it, or Tata at places, Delhi NCR, Mumbai. So these companies doing it. So these are three different entities. And then we are the consumers, right? So the distribution companies do a pact, a power purchase pact with the power producers. Why? Because during the time of peak demand of power, they should be able to provide power, right? Otherwise, what is the requirement of a pact? So this is the main idea of having a power purchase agreement, right? We also know that many distribution companies are running in losses because they cannot take back the amount of money that they have spent in from the consumers, right? Transmission losses, there are transmission losses also. So there is a huge supply chain lag and inefficiency in power sector. This whole topic cannot be discussed right now, but I have given a quick feedback and understanding of the background, and we will discuss now what is in news. Now, Punjab government has cancelled or asked to revisit one-sided power purchase agreements with the private companies, especially because they are not able to provide peak power during the peak power demand during paddy sowing summer season, right? Now, what happens is that the distribution companies in the states, they expect that they will be given power by the power production companies, but during the peak supply time, when there is a peak demand, the power is not provided by these companies. So now this is where the government says we will revisit all these kind of agreements. We are not going ahead with these kind of agreements where there is no commitment from the power supplier, right? So this is what is happening, right? Now, power purchase agreements, this is where there is an obligation of the power producer to deliver power, but they are not delivering. So this is one of the issues. Now, there is a set price at which it has to be purchased. This is another condition. It cannot be changed. The third condition here is that if the government has purchased this power, they cannot further sell it to anybody else. So there is a lot of rigidity in the whole mechanism, right? Now let us look at some important challenges that are plaguing this power sector. Right. Firstly, now India is an electricity surplus country. Right. So we are producing around 370 gigawatt, but our demand at times goes as low as 200 gigawatt. So what happens to the rest of the power? It is not consumed. But since government has already made a pact, even long-term pacts with certain companies, they have to pay them. These are the issues. So this is one important issue, that we are a electricity surplus country, and during the phase of lockdown where there were industries which were not running, who had the losses? Distribution companies, the government companies. So this is one issue that India is going through this, right? Large supplies have already been tied up, right? Large scale supplies have already been tied up, and these agreements are long-term agreements. That is another issue, right? Along with that, there has been a declining price. There has been a decline in price of the conventional and non-conventional energy sources. Why? Because there is excess power. So this is another thing where the companies, the power companies, the ones which are generating, they are not having sufficient profits. Why? Because the solar energy now is 2 rupees per unit. So there is competition and there is less profit. So it is as simple as that. Now, another issue that I have already explained is that distribution companies cannot trade the contracted supplies. If there is excess supply to a distribution company, it cannot sell it to a private company again. So there is a requirement of flexibility in this mechanism, right? This is very important, right? And there must be an exit clause in these kind of agreements. Just like Punjab is trying to exit, right? There will be cases against the government again, right? So exit clauses must be there. This is where we talk of the important mechanism of having ease of doing business, and this is where important part of it is contract enforcement. So we must have flexible contracts, right? And enforcement also must be good. There must be flexibility. This is what is the way forward. Flexibility in the contracts, right? We have to redefine the contract tenure. If there's a long-term contract for 20-30 years, that has to be redefined. There has to be some renegotiation in the pricing and how they have to be sold again, right? If the government is not able to utilize this power, they must be able to resell it to somebody else. So these kind of important activities are required in the power market for it to become more efficient, right? This is one important parameter you can utilize in economic answer on power, right? The second snapshot is on a beautiful initiative by Coal India Limited. Now, what are they doing? Before anything, Coal India is the organization that is into mining of coal mining, right? So we see these kind of coal mining in Chhattisgarh, in Jharkhand, West Bengal, and other areas, and coal is mined by this company. Two important kind of mine: open cast mine and underground mine. Underground mine are the one where we dig tunnels and go deep inside, and we have these tracks and we excavate all the coal, right? So this is subsurfacial. We are here on the surface and this is happening below the surface. Open cast mines are the one where we dig, we keep digging and we keep going below, right? So the whole cast is open, right? So water also gets filled. This is another issue here. Now you can very easily see, where does the sand go here? Sand is excavated and it is sent to various areas, right? In this, sand is again filled back. So these are the important differences in these kind of mine. What is Coal India doing? Let us look at this innovation. Now, Coal India says that it will be using the sand which has come from these open cast mines, right, from overburden at much cheaper price. It will be creating sand from all the excavated material from the overburden, right? So what is overburden? Overburden is the strata of the sand and other material lying above the coal bed, right? So if this is the mine and we have all the sand and other particles here, this is what Coal India is trying to mine and utilize as sand, and this is what is coal. So it will utilize all this to create sand. This is what Coal India is doing here. Now there are various advantages of doing this. Let us look at it, right? So after having understood what is overburden, now we will have to see how it is participating. Now if 100 amount of coal overburden is required from here, if it is excavated from here, it actually becomes 125. Why? Because now the volume increases. Earlier it was compressed. So when it has to be refilled at some other places, so 100 is the space required to fill it, but 25, what happens to the extra 25? So Coal India says we will use this extra 25, right? You have understood the statistics here, the data here. If this was 100, once it has been excavated, it becomes 125 because of increase in volume. Earlier it was pressed. So extra 25, the government, the CIL says that they will utilize to create sand. So they will have crushers, then they will have sieving and cleaning. What is sieving? Sieving is chalni. right? So the coarser particle will be separated from the final particles, and this is how sand is created. And they said we will backfill, we will fill it back, but they required extra amount we will use for creation of sand. Now how does it help? It minimizes environmental pollution. How? Because all this sand and gravel and all the kind of dust will keep on lying on the ground at some other place. They will be using it. So very good. One, they will be getting cheaper sand for construction material, right? Now we will not be utilizing that expensive sand from riverbed mining, right? So river ecosystem also gets saved, right? What about the volume of land required, the extra 25 units that were created? What about that? We don't need that land. And also the low cost housing, this can be actually done through this. So the cost of this, creating this sand, this kind of sand is 1, and the cost of using the sand from riverbed is as much as 10. So low cost housing, right? So such a beautiful innovation. This is a great example that can be used everywhere. So do remember these kind of examples, right? Now this leads to some examples of sustainable mining guidelines by the government, right? So one guideline in 2016, and then fly ash. We have discussed fly ash in detail so many times. So fly ash guidelines also are used in cement, in construction, right? In brick construction, brick kiln, and M sand, right? So what is M sand? M sand is manufactured sand. Instead of using this riverbed sand, what is done is stones, huge stones are crushed and sand is created out of it, and it is manufactured at a place and then utilized at various places. So this is what is the background to how Coal India is doing this innovative practice. Image of the day is from Sri Lanka. This rock, this piece of rock that you're looking at right now is to the tune of $100 million. Why? Because this rock has got a lot of stars studded in it, right? These stars are the gems, the sapphire gems studded in it, right? It was excavated from a gem excavating area. The place is unknown, the owner is unknown because of security reasons, and this rock was called as Serendipity sapphire. Now this is a star sapphire, is a type of sapphire that exhibits star-like phenomenon known as asterism. So this is where I bring you to this important word. Asterism means a group of stars, right? This is not a constellation. Constellation is a group of stars always interacting and moving with each other, but asterism is something else, just a group of stars, right? So this is a group of stars here, and this is what is depicted through this star sapphire cluster. Terms and concept. The first term and concept for today is Sujal, a very beautiful initiative by the government of Odisha. Puri has become the first district in the whole country to have piped drinking water 24/7. We just studied about electricity, right? So electricity connection is a liability of the government, and so is water. Piped water has to be supplied to all the users, all the citizens of the country at all places. And piped water does mean drinking water, right? So now Puri has become the first district to supply 24/7 piped drinking water. They will also be taxed, right? So there will be quick response to grievances, right? There will be a redressal mechanism. There will be water testing also happening. So a complete mechanism for water enablement in Puri. Puri is an important destination for religious tourism as well, and also tourism in the East Coast. So it has become India's first city in this particular project. This is a project by Odisha government, Drink from Tap mission, right? A part of another project, Mission Shakti. Now what is Mission Shakti? This is female-led self-help groups. Self-help groups will be participating in this mission, right? So this is what this news update is about. Second update is about Kanjivaram silk sarees, right? So these are important silk sarees from South India, from a specific place where they originated, Kanchipuram. This place is important for temples, right? And very interestingly, the temples in this area have also carved, you know, the carvings here also have different kind of carvings, right? So the motifs, that means the kind of images that are drawn, they are inspiration for these Kanjivaram sarees, right? Now, Kanjivaram is a special type of saree because the fabric of it is prepared from this silk, right? Now, what is this silk? Let me give you a quick background. This is the cocoon in which the silkworm lives. They weave this cocoon by themselves and they live inside it. They grow. So they are basically organisms which eat on mulberry leaves. Mulberry is one kind of leaf they eat. They also eat other kind of leaves. So mulberry leaves eating leads to the formation of mulberry silk, right? So various kind of silk are used. Now this whole cocoon along with the body, they are later boiled and processed. So the organism later dies, but this processing leads to the creation of the thread, the silk thread, and there are important silk throughout the country. For example, we have muga, eri, tassar, mulberry. Now organisms, these small organisms eat different kind of leaves to create different kind of silk. So mulberry leaves, and then we have eri and muga in northeast, especially Assam, and then we have tassar in the east India region, and mulberry is towards the south, right? So mulberry leaves are also used to create this. An important person, an award-winning person, B. Krishnamurthy, he has created a lot of motifs, a lot of symbols and signs, a lot of designs through getting inspiration from the temples of Kanchipuram. So this is what is the important news update. They have also been GI tagged. These saris have been GI tagged in 2005. They have got origins from the Chola dynasty. So this is a quick history of it, right? Third snapshot is SLDE and GHG calculator. Very important and good practice by India. So what is SLD? SLD stands for Secured Logistics and Document Exchange, right? So during the process of any transaction, documents are exchanged, right? Now whole process has been automated, whole process has been made online, it has been made secure, so physical papers are not required, right? Also, if one logistics has to be exchanged and I want to know what is the cost, I want to get the probable cost receipt of this whole process will be automated. The whole process will also tell me if the road transport is economical or railway process is economical, right? It will also tell me the greenhouse gas calculator, right? So with this calculator, it will tell me how much greenhouse gas is spent here by road, how much is spent through rail. Isn't it a great initiative? It's a very good initiative launched by the government to eliminate fraud in the kind of interactions, because now this will be a secure transmission, right? Also, since it is online, it is faster mode of understanding the way logistics will move throughout India. So this is another important parameter for ease of doing business, right? Now economy is something that actually runs everything. Economy runs the war, economy runs the politics, economic runs the society, and that is why I always talk of ease of doing business. There will be questions from economy from it, and you will also be putting these questions in polity, in governance, in international relations, right? How India is implying and improving these kind of mechanisms, right? So this is an update, SLDE and GHG calculator, Secure Logistics Document Exchange, right? So this is what it is. Fourth snapshot is on king chili. Now king chili is a special kind of chili, the spiciest chili in the whole world. Ever tried this? This is a chili called as Bhut Jalakia, and it is from Nagaland, northeast India. Now important news is that this has been GI tagged and it has also started to be exported, right, out of India. So Agricultural Produce and Export Developing Authority, it is their job to ensure that Indian agricultural products, if found good, are exported and sold to various destinations. So this is where they have taken an initiative, and through airport at Guwahati, they have sent it abroad, right? So this is how the product gets marketed throughout the whole world. Now a particular thing called as capsaicin. Now this is an important ingredient in this chili which makes it the spiciest, right? So body sweat, ears turn red and tongues burn. This is worth trying. Maybe I have not tried this. Now this has also been GI tagged, and this is what is in news. APITA has also helped Northeast India to develop the agriculture of the region. How? By exporting lemon. Now Assam has special type of lemon, right? It's quite different. Red rice of Assam, jackfruit, and these Myanmar, Burma grapes also. So this is the news update. Editorials of the day. The first editorial is a very interesting editorial on central bank digital currency and its fight with the cryptocurrencies, right? So we will discuss this article quickly so that you don't even have to read the article in news. Okay, now central bank digital currency is something that has been in news because all the countries want to create a digital currency for themselves, an official digital currency for the country, so that they may track the transaction, so that they may be able to tax the transactions and the earnings, right? Now China has already created a digital yuan. This is one thing, and 86% of the central banks around the world, central banks, for example, the Reserve Bank of India, right, these are examining how they can utilize the central bank digital currency, right? But the article says there's some reservations on it. Countries like America, Canada, European Union, they are still pondering if the central bank or the government can actually utilize the central bank digital currency effectively or not. So they are still pondering if this is an effective scheme or not. Now, but why are 86% countries examining the feasibility of this? So why do they want to have a currency apart from the cryptocurrency? Why? Why a state-run currency? So they say, the article says, first, countries like Sweden, where there is less cash flow, they need digital flow. So they need digital currency. This is one example. The second example they give, a very good legitimate example, is the example of Germany and Denmark. Now there, they said that there is a high cost of printing notes, high cost of fiat currency. So fiat currency is the currency which is not pegged to physical assets like gold, like silver, right? Not pegging means the amount, this currency will not be linked to the amount of gold that country has. It will have its own autonomous value. So, for example, rupee itself, it is not pegged, it is a fiat currency. Now, do you know that rupee itself, it takes a lot of amount of money for the Reserve Bank to create a rupee? This particular note, the security features, the printing of it, and the whole logistics involved in transportation, it involves a lot of cost. So these countries, Denmark and Germany, are trying to reduce that cost of creating and printing that kind of money, minting money, right? So they are switching to the digital currency, right? This kind of official digital currency. The third is government. The third reason they give why they want to switch, why the government also wants to create an official digital currency, is they want to create an alternative for the present cryptocurrencies, right? And this is where the article says, no, this is not possible. The first two are legitimate reasons. Sweden having reduced cash inflow, they want to increase digital inflow is good. Denmark, Germany, fine, they want to reduce the cost of fiat currency, but you cannot create an alternate. Why? Because the present structure is already profiting, and this is why people will not put money in your currency. So let us look at the private virtual currency of this world. There are two kinds of currencies. One, which are tied to fiat currencies. That means for example, if there is a currency A and there is Bitcoin, right? So A will always be pegged to dollars. So the government will keep an eye, what is the rate of this particular currency right now, this cryptocurrency, how is it rising? If it is suddenly rising, government will try to control, and it will also check, it will also penalize people if there is fluctuation. So there is a dull trading in this, there is no profit in this. But on the other hand, these are the kind of cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, right, Ethereum, and then we have other coins like Dogecoin and etc., ADA, etc. So these are the currencies which have novelty, which have newness, right? And there's anonymity, there is price volatility, the price goes up and down, and this is created by the traders, and this is what attracts them. So why will people invest in your government currencies when they are private currencies giving profit to people, right? So this is what is demonstrated here. There are illegal payments also made, there are profit also booked, so people will always come to this. So you can give the first two reasons, the article says, but third reason, alternate currency, it will not succeed in that way. So this is what the article says, right? There's no interference, no central bank participating in it. It is completely autonomous and it is anonymous as well, right? Also, the article talks about banks' concerns. Now, if banks are concerned that their business will drop because there is digital currency in the market, they say, no, don't you worry. Why? Because banks also give a percentage of interest, but cryptocurrencies won't give interest. So people who want to invest in safe places, they will keep investing in banks. Also, India will be following other countries here. India is late in the game, but India will be following and will have to release some of the other currency for the digital market as well. So this is the update article here. The second editorial is on important news about Pegasus and all the cyber weapons that this type of technology can create. It has been written by the former NSA, National Security Advisor, M.K. Narayanan, an important article, right? Firstly, this article speaks that these kind of entities like Pegasus, why are they being used in peace times? Firstly, they can be used in war times when surveillance has to be carried out. One has to win war against governments or other not state actors. But why in peace times? Why against the common man surveillance, right? It presents in a lot of occasions in which around the world surveillance with cyber technology has been used. Palestine, Norway, World War II, Iran, America, etc. A lot of places this kind of technology has been used, and it has not been appreciated because it is hurting common man's privacy as well. It is hurting the privacy of governments as well, right? Recently, France premier also had to change their phone number because there was an alleged attempt. It was said that Pegasus also is trying to survey his phones, right? So this is the kind of world we are dealing with right now. The article also speaks of Moore's law, where there will be double number of transistors in chips every year, but the cost will reduce, right? So there will be huge number of these kind of surveillance mechanism which will be enabled in the future, right? The article also says later about the zero-click attacks. What is a zero-click attack? Pegasus itself is a zero-click attack where no click in the computer or PC system is required. The computer will automatically have the software installed, Pegasus installed in it, and then this without any click, it will be surveying our own computer. Not only surveying, it can open our camera in the computer, it can also start the recorder, it can transmit any kind of information, whatever we are typing, everything will be completely surveyed. So this is the kind of zero attack we are facing. There's something called a zero-day vulnerability, right? So what is it? Now this article says that this is important to contain the zero-day vulnerability. What is zero-day vulnerability? Now zero-day vulnerability means there are 0 days left for the good people to secure their systems against the hackers. Now, day one vulnerability means we have 1 day in which we can control this kind of hazard. But 0 day means immediately this kind of threat has to be handled immediately. So these are the kind of 0 day vulnerability if Pegasus is installed in any system. So this is what it says. It says that technology is a double-edged sword, right? And therefore it has to be used in a way that it is only used for peaceful and good means, right? And to be able to control a software like Pegasus, one has to get into the mindset of creators. Only after getting into the mindset can we actually deal with this kind of menace. This is where we come to the conclusion of the Gazette discussion. Now, I would like to have an important feedback from you people. Since you watched this Gazette discussion, I would like to know what is good for you. Having a Gazette of 20 to 25 minutes Gazette discussion, or do you want it to exceed to 10 more minutes where I explain you the fundamentals, all the related aspects, so that you get the essence and you get to understand the facts also, right? So this important feedback if you give me, whether 20-25 minutes of Gazette, or can you dedicate extra 10 minutes so that we can actually discuss it in details. Now where I talk of an article, I not only cover the theme, but I also cover so many underlying aspects and aspects related to it, because we don't know if the question will be right from the center. The question can also be from this particular sidelines, and therefore we have to be curious, we have to understand things, and that's where I am helping you. I would like to have this important feedback, either 20-25 minutes Gazette or extra 10 minutes also given, right? And that's how I'll create the magazine videos later. Thank you.